The all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner has finally come. For the first time in 15 years, the legendary SUV is getting a completely new design. The fifth generation had a pretty impressive run with impressive sales numbers even in the more recent model years. But it was time for change, and from what we can see, there are plenty of them. The legendary SUV is back, more capable than ever. So make sure to stay with us as we take a more detailed look at this SUV icon. That day has finally come. The 4Runner is redesigned and, first and foremost, it didn't lose any of its ruggedness. No, it seems tougher than ever, thanks to the new TNGA-F platform, a body-on-frame iteration that already debuted in the new Tacoma and Land Cruiser. The two models are actually the closest relatives, particularly the Tacoma, which borrows pretty much the same front-end designs. The headlights are there, as well as the grille, while the bumper offers a slightly revised layout. The rest of the 4Runner's layout feels kind of familiar, despite being heavily revised. Because the familiar shape is still there, with massive tires and a classic, some would even say, old-school SUV approach. Besides new aesthetics, the important thing about the exterior is that the sixth generation has gotten bigger in nearly every aspect. The wheelbase has been stretched and is now the same as in the new Land Cruiser, 112.2 inches. The new 2025 4Runner is also longer, as well as 3 inches wider than its predecessor. Off-road enthusiasts will particularly like the fact that the new model can finally accommodate bigger off-road tires, which was one of the key limiting factors in the previous generation. For the first time in 15 years, the 4Runner gets a full redesign, so it doesn't surprise that the changes are radical in nearly every aspect, starting from the platform. Of course, we're talking about the new TNGA-F architecture, the same that underpins the new Tacoma and Land Cruiser, with notably improved rigidity that should improve the ride quality both on and off the road. Speaking of the ride quality, a few words about the suspension design. Just like the new Land Cruiser, the 2025 4Runner comes with Toyota's familiar control arm suspension setup, while the rear utilizes a multi-link setup. That may sound the same as in the previous generation, but the officials assured us that the suspension has been heavily modified and now features a completely new geometry. But as the 4Runner will once again come with a wide range of versions, which we'll talk about in a few moments, keep in mind that the actual setup may vary a lot, depending on the variant you choose. This primarily refers to the well-known TRD Pro trim, which will come with Fox QS3 dampers with adjustable compression. Also, just like with the Tacoma, the new trim level called Trailhunter will join the lineup and will be equipped with ARB Old Man Emu dampers with external reservoirs on the rear end. Once again, it's super easy to find similarities with the Tacoma. Moreover, the two models are practically the same on the inside, at least when it comes to the dashboard design. The layout, screens, controls, everything looks familiar, and that's a good thing because we really like Tacoma's cabin layout and ergonomics. Practically, the key difference is in the color schemes, as the 4Runner comes with a few different combinations on offer. A few areas are also wrapped with different materials, which all help 4Runner stand out a bit. As mentioned, the screens are the same, including the optional 14-inch unit, one of the biggest in the class. Base models, on the other hand, come with an 8-inch unit, and the same thing goes with the instrument cluster, where the smaller 7-inch screen comes with base models, while the fully digital 12.3-inch unit comes if you're willing to pay more. Besides various convenience and advanced tech features, the new 4Runner also comes packed with Toyota's latest Safety Sense 3.0 suite, which brings a couple of interesting novelties, starting from the new system called Proactive Driving Assist, which applies brakes and turns the wheel to help the driver in tricky situations. Then there's the upgraded Road Sign Assist, which now recognizes a wider range of traffic signs. Among standard safety features, you can also find goodies like automatic high beams, adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, and a lane keep system. As for comfort and seating configuration, the base setup includes 2 rows of seats with a similar amount of space as in the double-cab Tacoma. However, the key benefit comes in the optional 3rd row, which isn't particularly adult-friendly, but comes as a massive upgrade in terms of flexibility and versatility, especially if we consider that the famous power-operated rear window is still a quintessential feature. Along with the optional sunroof, it can create a pseudo-open-air feel and mimic open-roof variants of Wrangler and similar competitors. This is probably the aspect that changed the most. After so many years, the 4Runner has dropped the good old 4-liter V6. A primary unit for the new age is a relatively new but already familiar 2.4-liter Turbo 4, which comes in gas-only and electrified variants. Once again, the 4Runner mirrors the Tacoma, so the base version of the Turbo 4 features 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, which is a nice improvement over the old, naturally aspirated V6, especially when it comes to torque. For most, that should be plenty of power, but Toyota also offers a recently introduced hybrid based on the same engine. That setup gets significant help from electric motors, so the max output goes up to 326 horsepower and quite impressive 465 pound-feet of torque, so there's no need to talk about how superior driving dynamics are with this one. What's particularly interesting is that Toyota is so confident in its hybrid setup that the toughest off-roaders, TRD Pro and Trailhunter, come exclusively with this setup. Another big novelty is the transmission. The ancient 5-speed automatic is finally gone, and it gets replaced with a new 8-speed unit. Just like in the previous generation, base models feature rear-wheel drive, while the 4-wheel drive setup comes with more expensive variants and also features a 2-speed transfer case with low-range gearing. And while we're talking about essential off-road features, let's not forget to mention features like optional disconnecting stabilizer bars, low-speed off-road cruise control, locking rear diff, and many more. Finally, let's mention the 32-degree approach and 24-degree departure angles, which also promise solid off-road potential. As you can see, things are pretty similar to Tacoma, and one of the rare things that's missing in the case of 4Runner is the available manual transmission. That shifter will remain exclusive to the midsize pickup. The 4Runner never lacked off-road potential. Moreover, Toyota has been expanding the model's lineup for years, and it now raises the bar even further with the all-new Trailhunter. Just like in the case of the Tacoma, it doesn't position itself either below or above the TRD Pro, which has been the model's range-topping option over the last several years. It's a completely different kind of off-roader. Namely, while the TRD Pro is designed as a kind of desert runner, the Trailhunter's main purpose is overlanding. For that reason, it's rather designed for dealing with rocks and other challenging terrain at a slow pace than dealing with sand on fast trails. The suspension setup is completely different, as it features ARB's Old Man Emu 2.5-inch forged shocks. These shocks come with external remote reservoirs, while another special feature is a roof rack, also designed by ARB. The Trailhunter comes standard with 33-inch all-terrain tires, as well as rock rails and high-strength steel skid plates, while the ground clearance is increased by 2 inches at the front and 1.5 inches in the back. Furthermore, there's a full load of accessories that come with this brand new version of the 4Runner. Some of the highlights are goodies like a 20-inch LED light bar, as well as rigid LED fog lights, a 2400-watt AC inverter, and many more. As for the rest of the lineup, the new 2025 Toyota 4Runner comes with probably the widest offer ever. There are 9 trim levels in total, and most of them are off-road focused. Once again, the lineup starts with the base SR5 trim, and then a few TRD badged models come, including TRD Sport, TRD Sport Premium, TRD Off-Road, and TRD Off-Road Premium. For those looking for something more luxurious and more convenient, Toyota offers familiar variants, Limited and Platinum. Finally, the two most expensive models in the lineup are the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter. The all-new 6th generation 4Runner has just been unveiled and, according to the officials, sales will start later this year. Most likely, that will happen next fall when the all-new SUV will debut as a model for 2025. As for the price, the officials have been quiet so far, but we can refer to the price of the outgoing generation, which starts at a little bit over $42,000. Of course, the new model will most likely cost a little bit more, and our guess is somewhere around $43,000 to $44,000. On the other hand, range-topping versions like TRD Pro and Trailhunter will probably cost over $60,000. What do you think about the new 2025 Toyota 4Runner? Does it appear worth the wait? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.